100%. That's why I know I can add more to this because there's like a gap of like 4 hours that because I'm not sleeping 8 hours. Eight
Right.
hours is what you need, but I'm not sleeping 8 hours. I'm sleeping like five consistently. So it's like that gap is even thicker, which means I could apply more. But if I get my hours on point, I would still feel like I have like some room, some
Right.
wiggle room to
So the easy answer is you sleep 8 hours a night. You get to bed by 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
And we have jujitsu here till
Like
10,
usually, yeah.
but you don't have to be to every jujitsu class.
Yeah.
You can come to jujitsu 2-3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're doing, some days you're doing boxing, some days you're doing kickboxing, sometimes you're doing. We've added the 3 o'clock grappling class. So if you have a short day, or you only got a 5-hour day in, next thing you know, you're doing your jujitsu earlier rather than later.
Yeah.
But if you just have like this, like I have to be laying in bed at 10:30, kind of like motto.
Yep.
Next thing you know, you're crushing 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and then you're not as tired when you get off work. I think that's kind of a big thing. Okay, so real quick, what are some other things that are keeping you from training? Because we mentioned 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of work. That's 16 hours. 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of work, 24 hours in the day. Where did we come to? Oh, I gave you 10 hours of work. That's why I said 18.
Yeah.
So even if you're working 10, we still have 6 leftover hours.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are like, well, I just wanted to be training here all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
I hear a lot of young fighters tell me that. They're like, well, I'll be here. I could be here 5 hours a day. It's like, no, you can't. Because the second you start training 5 hours a day,
It's gonna catch up.
yeah, like if you're a professional fighter and what you end up, you quit your job, you got a strength and conditioning coach, you got a boxing coach, a jiu-jitsu coach, you have an MMA team that come to you work with. You can put in 8, 6, 7 hours a day on fighting, but there's a lot of commuting that goes on. There's a lot of meal prep that goes into it, and all of a sudden it's like, yes, you are a full-time fighter, but there's a lot of kind of things. There's a lot of things that go in between. Let's go back to the normal person. The normal person has that 8 to 10 hour job, has that 8 hours of sleep. And this is where I say people can't train more than like 2-3 hours a day, because all of a sudden the rest of their life goes to crap.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not getting their grocery shopping done. They're not getting their oil changed in their car. They're not getting their taxes done.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, all these other things get left on the back burner. And when that stuff starts catching up to you, now all of a sudden you're not going to practice because you never got your oil changed.
Mm-hmm.
You never did this. You never did that. You never went grocery shopping. And if you're not grocery shopping, you're now just stopping and getting fast food on the way home.
Right.
And so, like, I mean, maybe that's kind of where this podcast is going, but I think a lot of young fighters need to hear this. Like, if you've got your life in order, all of a sudden you can start putting things together. And what's the goal for amateur fighters? I tell amateur fighters 2 hours a day, 4 to 5 days a week for a long period of time.